I think farm stores are awesome. I've been to a lot. There's a lot around here in North Florida. I'm in Panama City, and there was one I went to, Lazy Acre Farms in Mariana. They've got a great little farm store. They sell beef, pork, chicken. For any rancher or even just like a normal farmer with row crops, like what is the process like of opening your own farm store?
Well, first of all, I think if you're going to do that, you need to make sure you have the ability to get the products that you want,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, however that is, whether you raise them or you're purchasing them or whatever. I think that's going to be one of your major hurdles. And of course, then you got to have the permits. You got to have make sure that your state permit in Florida. You got to get a permit with the Florida Department of Agriculture, and they come and check you. During the year to make sure you're following their requirements.
Okay.
And depending on how deep you go into that, those requirements can get bigger and bigger. If you're just selling stuff that is, when you get it, the harvester has packaged it under USDA packaging requirements. Then there's not a lot that you have to do. But if you open that package and you're going to do something else, that's a whole different animal. That's a whole different set of regulatory environment that you got to go through, not only with the U.S. Florida Department of Agriculture, but USDA and a lot of other things. So I think those are the things that I would say probably the biggest things that I would look out for. But you got to make sure you got products to sell.
Right, right. Now, what about reaching out to other farmers, like quote unquote locally, and featuring their products in your store? Like, what
Yeah.
advice would you give there?
Oh yeah, I think any of these guys. I mean, right now, we have been partnering with a local watermelon and vegetable farmer to
Hmm.
getting some of the vegetables there and get them into our store. Now we're not a produce market by any means, but when we got people that are our friends and our neighbors and they want us to sell those kind of things there, we've sold plums and peaches and a little bit of everything, anything that could. We got a pickle that some folks down around West Palm is buying raising their cucumbers and pickling them, and man, they're really good.
Hmm.
A little different. They got all kind of different flavors. So, um, yeah, I mean, people love to know where their products are coming from.
Oh
Used
yeah.
to when I was a kid, my grandfather, everybody knew a little bit about farming. Heck, most of the people that come in to our place now, they know nothing about farming or ranching except what we teach them.
Yeah, I feel like I've got this dream. Before I die, I want to open up a butcher shop because I think back in the old days, the butcher shop was such a great connection point between ranching and farming, or between ranching and the consumer. Do you think like farm stores are now kind of becoming the 21st century butcher shop where it's a better place for farmers and consumers to connect?
Yeah, I mean, if I went back and thought about the butcher shops that I've seen over the years, I bet I've seen 100 of them go out of business. And you
Mm.
say, well, what's the deal here? I mean, I think where we have the opportunity today versus what most people, and the reason why those guys may have went out of business is you got to be more than just cutting up a piece of beef. You got to be able
Mm.
to say, okay, I've got grass-fed product, I've got prime, I've got choice, I've got different kinds I've got wagyu, I've got just same thing with pork. I got different kinds of pork. I mean, I think you've got to give them something different than what they can just go to the grocery store and buy. If you're trying to compete with the Publix and the Winn Dixies and the Walmarts of the world, you're not going to be very successful. They got more resources. Their costs are a lot less. So you got to find something that is your niche, and it's you don't need to say you're not going to have 200 stores open, but you might have a few as
Hmm.
time goes on. But when you find that niche or whatever that is that the people around you want, then that's what you have to provide. That's one of the things is that we provide. We provide that local. We provide that person that wants to come in and see where this product came from, what it looks like from birth to harvest. We can show them that. If you want to, you can go on our website and you can see who we are and what we do. And there's a lot of things about that people really like in this day and time. And so I think, yes, maybe the new butcher shop may be the ranch, the
Mm.
store at the ranch.
Yeah.
Or a satellite store that's maybe in a larger metropolitan area, but it is a satellite of that ranch that's out there. So when you move that store to, say, Gainesville, in our particular case, you're actually moving the ranch out there that they can come in and see. So they got to see it. They can't just be walking in and buying beef.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, they can go there and buy their products, but also they can get a tour. They can see what's going on. So
Yeah.
it's not only it's extremely educational, which I think is so fun.
That's right.
Do you,
And you got to have the people that's in the store that knows more about than just the big cuts of beef. They got to know what we do. You got to say, well, what are they doing over there to those cow? I can hear the cow pen over there. What are they doing? They say, oh, they're preg checking the heifers this morning, or we're vaccinating our calves this morning, or whatever we're doing. And you can actually have that conversation and explain to these folks what's really going on out here. They can they can hear the sounds. They can see the cattle. They'll come up towards them if they walk out. You're taking pictures. I mean, that gives them that interaction of feeling like, yeah, I'm really at where this starts.
what do you think kind of drove that, where consumers are kind of more curious about where their food comes from? Like, it seems like, I don't know, the average consumer might be more curious and more, maybe a little bit more knowledgeable about, getting the information about who produced their food and where.
Well, I think it used to be, like I said earlier, I think it just used to be part of our legacy that we grew up on farms. We knew a little bit about this, and now people didn't really know. They never been to a ranch. They didn't know, but they're really interested and say, okay, I've got a steak here in front of me. What happened? How did that get here, and what was the process it caused to get here? Because they're concerned about their health, they're concerned about their family, and they don't have this inner knowledge that they grew up with. So now they need to go to the internet, and if you can give them a place like our ranch to come and look and see and experience it, it gives them a better feeling of what really is going on. Because there's been a lot of stuff out there, and some of it's true, some of it's not, that your product is being kind of adulterated before it gets to the consumer. Maybe it's got preservatives, or maybe this, or maybe some of those things. No question are true. Some of them are not. But that consumer doesn't know the difference. So he likes to come see what really is happening.